my goodness. No makeup on today. I don't know what's happening. Anyways, I have no makeup on today. Oh well. Here I am. Oh, with all my wrinkles and no filter. Holy man, what's gonna happen to the internet? It's gonna crash and burn and break because I have no makeup on. We'll put lipstick on. But I decided not to wear makeup today. I just didn't feel like doing my makeup. Like there's some days that you just don't want to do makeup. The other day was all about my eyebrows. They're still the same. Today is about my makeup. There we go. Let's go live. So, welcome everybody. Thank you. See who's going to come on in. Takes a couple of minutes for people to either get notifications to come on in. Oh, wow. Yeah. I just sort of pop on here and just say, hoo, here I am. Coming to you with a 411 of the craziness of the world. Man, yesterday was hilarious. I just kind of, well, it's not so hilarious. Yeah, it was hilarious. There's a few people that I listen to on YouTube from Canada, and they're so fucking boring. I hate to say that. Canadians, you guys you can be boring. It's like, and because it's like you're listening to them, right? And then they're bringing in CTV or something like that, and I'm just like, can't you do your own journalism? Like, really, do your own journalism or something. Oh, Charlene, you were over here. Now you're over here. You're everywhere. Charlene is everywhere. Um, to do their journalism. Anyways, and everyone was every day. This is what I see. And I see that. Oh, Trudeau's going to get ousted. Oh, this is going to happen. I'm telling you, people. And and it's like, oh, they're having a caucus meeting and they're going to oust him. Are you serious? Like, really, nothing's going to happen out of this. Yeah, there's going to be more money spent on looking into the cause and looking into shit. Nothing at this time is going to happen. It's unfortunate, but I mean, if you look at what's going on with the was it CBC right now and the investigation with the CBC? Nothing. I mean, this is a publicly funded radio station and news. I mean, it's owned by the government, and they're getting $1 million bonuses, like $1 million bonuses. One of the presidents is asked to resign, or will she resign? And she said that's nobody's business. Like, and what kind of bonus and um, package she's going to receive, and she's not even going to divulge it, even though it's our tax dollars that is paying for it. Do you believe it? Of course, of course. This is all within the corruption. This has been going on. Not it's just that it's coming in our faces because Pluto's at the very end of Capricorn, and it's showing you the disgrace of everything. Donald Trump is going to be on Joe Rogan tomorrow, and I'm trying to figure out how am I going to be able to watch that. I'll be at work. But I mean, seriously, that is going to be a podcast that's probably going to break the internet. Uh, you know, because people are going to tune in to watch that. Joe Rogan is a very he's inquiring, he's inquisitive, he wants to know. And no holds bars. And the thing is that you're with Trump. I mean, you never know what the hell he's going to say, right? He's a Gemini. So things are going to come out about that. That's the thing, is that information is going to come out. And as much as the left is really wanting to smash, destroy everything that is of cultural, moral values, they want to demonetize it, they want to cut it to the core. And we are in a time where our values, and as I said before, North America in that, are based on Western values, are based on Christian and Jewish values. And this is whereas when you start giving them up, then what God is going to replace that? What are the values going to replace that? And that's what you people have to start looking at. It doesn't matter if you're a witch. I don't care if you're a druid. I don't care if you're a fundamentalist Christian. The thing is that the what's coming forward is these values, these ideas, these moralities that are coming forward. And it's asking you, are you willing to replace what your beliefs are, your values, with the new ideology that they are wanting to bring forth? They did it in China. They got rid of Buddhism and the Tao, and it is you believe in the world, you believe in the leader, you believe in the government. They did it in North Korea. This is where they did it in Russia with communism for the longest time, and then with now Russia is now a republic. I mean, it still has, I mean, every government's corrupt. I don't give a fuck where it is in the world. Every government's corrupt. But believing, wanting to bring in values, wanting to bring in something that can bring forth unity, bring forth a family. And we're in a world where things are being wanting to be torn apart. Pluto at the end of Capricorn does that. Now it's in an opposition with Mars at 26 degrees. Mars is going to be in this opposition with Pluto for the next 6 months. And that means that there's going to be this, either we fall on the sword or take the victory. This is where we really have to look at the truth. And since we're in Scorpio season, take that step back and look at where am I putting those boundaries up? And am I putting those boundaries up harshly, or am I putting those boundaries up in a way that is, no, this is what needs to be done? We could take children for, there's a boundary. It's like, no, I'm not going to allow my child to go to X place because I know what happens at that place. Or if you have relatives who are drug addicts or alcoholics, you're not going to take your child to that place and expose them to that. It's like, no, you guys go do this is my boundary. This is my line in the sand. And that's what it's coming down to. And it's coming down to putting that line in the sand and looking at things and really watching how your emotional attachments are to this, within the elections, with the governments that's happening in Canada and the governments around the world. You could go to England right now and the shit that's going down in England. I mean, they arrested a man who just happened to shout out at a police. He wasn't he wasn't a bad person. He was a very law-abiding man, but believes so much in his country that he was coming out to protest in a peaceful way, was arrested and died in jail because he was told to plead guilty. Plead guilty because it's better for you. And so it's like, oh, well, yeah, okay. So he did. But they integrated him with Muslim gangs that are in the prison. And he died. He was a father. He was a grandfather. He was a husband. He was a taxpayer. He's a person who contributed to his country. This is happening all over. This is the awakening. And it's where the truth is very difficult to witness and to see, but we have to witness it and we have to see it in order to make the changes. If we turn our back on what's going on, if we turn our back and say, "Oh, well, I'm just doing this because I'm backing this person because they're a woman, or I'm backing this person just because they're a man." No. Look at things. This is where education comes in. This is where to look at things. Just because somebody gave you something, like everybody goes, "Well, I love Trudeau. Look at he's giving us dental and all of this." I'm like, but where's that money coming from? What is it doing to our economy? What is it doing to our children? Is this what we want? And this is, again, we're going back to Pluto. Why? Because he's at the end of Capricorn. Capricorn represents the institutions, the governments, the school systems, All of that, all of our communities, all of that connection at 29 degrees. And then this is the last time, the last sort of hurrah until he moves into Aquarius for the next 20 years. On what is that community? What is that ideology? What is that, what is that you want to take forward with you? And this is where it's like a lot, I don't want to look at that. I don't want to deal with that. That's just way too much for me to do. And people get into an emotional state. They get into a harshness. They get in a tit for tat. And they want to take cheap shots. And this is where you don't go. Someone's taking a cheap shot. This is where you got to rise above and give it up to the Holy Spirit and ask for inner peace and a miracle. This is where you have to really look at, what is my passion? What is it that I want to bring forward that is positive? That is a connection. That's where we're at. This is where it's like, it gets me to look at all through history on, are you, like, I just got the Romans coming in. When the Romans went into England, the Romans were going into Ireland, and they went through Germany, and how they wanted to implement their gods, their ideology, their thoughts. And in order for you to survive, people did, right? And then along came the Christianity, and with Christianity coming in and the ideology of Christianity and bringing that forth, and how people adapted that Christianity within, like a lot of paganism, of course, a lot of things, like our holidays and stuff are joined with, Christianity. Why was that? Because it's our humanness, it's our connection. We wanted to bring forth the community. We wanted to bring forth a connection and bring forth something that is fulfilling and bringing us to a higher purpose and bringing us to something that is, I'm going to say, love. And that's what we got. It's like it's not one against the other, but I think it's that unity that wanted to come together. And that's what is so important that we really have to look at this time. Where are the values that we want to bring forward into our communities, into our lives, and step forward with it? I mean, things are going really crazy. I mean, they want us to forget about the two people that are stuck in space. I mean, what was it? What, the Boeing Center, the Boeing Space Center or something just blew up? Like, for God's sake. Really? Like, how we can't forget about those people that are in space. They got a family, right? And that's the whole thing. It's like if we don't talk about it, then it's not real. And that's not the way it works. Just because you ignore it doesn't make it not real. And I just feel like there's just so much there. I could go into quite a big depth, but I'm not going to um on this. And I feel like I've said so much for so long. A lot of my old videos are starting to be taken down. YouTube is going through my and taking things down from 2021. And I'm just like, whatever. Here, I gotta just close this 1 second. I'm going to continue to say my piece and say what I know is the truth, what I feel is the truth, and get the truth out there. But it's up for people to start taking it on to them and taking their own responsibility in acknowledging it and taking it into their day-to-day life. If they think that, man, there's so much here. If they think that, how do I phrase that? Oh, I'm not even sure how to phrase that. And okay, you got this. These are my thoughts, and this is how it's going. How And I've been looking into a lot to do with history and Christianity coming into England and coming into the Ireland, and how the spread of Christianity happened throughout the world. And one of the things was acceptance. I mean, that was one of the biggest things why Christianity, from the time of Christ. I mean, if you think about it, this isn't a religious thing, but anyways, take it the way you want it. Um, Christ Jesus only preached for 3 years. That's it, and died at 33. Um, and that was it. And then his apostles went out and spread the word. Every one of his apostles were killed in some way, right? They were martyred for spreading the word. And when we go back, and I'm just looking at bits of history of what's happening at that time and why were they it's because they spoke out against the government. They spoke out against what people were doing at the time. They spoke out against, people having, um, sex in the street, and not bringing forth the family. They spoke out where separation is not a good thing, and that in losing oneself or one's identity or culture, um, get moves you further away from truth and your divine or your God. And they were persecuted. That's one of the reasons why they were persecuted, because they were ones who accepted and said, well, it doesn't matter if you're poor, it doesn't matter if you're circumcised, it doesn't matter if you're this or you're that. There is an acceptance of you in this. And that became the Christian faith, the Christian belief. This is the basis of it, right? Because that's what the spread was. Because they went from, where Jesus was spreading it to the Jews, and they went out and they spreaded it. That's a new word, spread it to the rest of the world. And as we go forth and we see it, and we see how it was spread, we can look into the different places of what was going on. Why did it, um, you can get into deep theological thoughts of why things were done in a certain way, what was going on, what was the belief system of that time. People always pull out the Knights Templars, and uh, a lot to do with William the Conqueror, the Anglo-Saxons, and they were coming in to bring forth what they believed. I mean, this is 1,000 years after Christ. This is 1,500 years after Christ. A lot was starting to evolve, and the fight for um, a fight for their values, and the fight for the values was there. And that fight for the values was there because you can go back into the 1200s and 1300s, because Muslims, didn't come around for another 700 years after Christ. And they were coming in where they were saying, you have to believe it this way, and you have to be accepted in this way. And you had over here the Christians and even the Jews. Well, we question what you believe in, we question what's going on. And then the whole thing, the fight, and everything starts to happen. But anyways, that's where my thoughts kind of going. And we're seeing it coming to this head. We're seeing this coming to a push where, why is there more conversions to, say, Christianity than to Muslims? Muslims, people are born into it, but you don't see people converting to it. Christianity, you see more people converting to it. Why? Because it's the idea of acceptance, and that's the whole thing. It's about acceptance. And then I think that's why there's issues when you come into the pagan community, because they don't want acceptance. They want you to be this certain way. They want you to be part of the woke society, or they want you to be the LGBTQ plus community, right? And they've really hung on to that. ideology. And it's not where it's coming into being, no, I want some place of acceptance. And so many people that I've seen that have tried to start markets have said, well, we want to be neutral. You can't be neutral and acceptance at the same time, because acceptance means I'm going to put up boundaries. Acceptance means I'm going to love you. I understand where you're coming from, but I'm putting up the boundaries. And the boundaries means is that that doesn't align with my values or my morals. That doesn't align with the way I would like to bring forth more community and love. If you force something upon me and say I have to believe it, if I don't believe it, I'm a bigot, I'm uh whatever. The names can go on. But if I say no, I don't accept that. If you want to preach that, you go over there, but if you come here, that's not allowed. That's where the boundaries have to come in. And people are afraid to put those boundaries up, or they're afraid to say those boundaries, because then they're afraid of not being accepted. Of what? Being accepted into something that is not in your alignment? Interesting. That's something people have to really sit with and look at and mull it around. And it is one that can be very harsh, right? And it's something that could be where, well, that's not the truth. That's not the truth that I was told. That's not the truth that I've been, shown throughout my life. And it's saying, well, we're bringing you something new. It's like we're bringing you in something of a realization of really looking at what direction do you want to go? We have a direction over here that says we want to keep everything the same. Yeah, if we keep everything the same, that means everybody just are little sheep and just continue upon their way. Don't question, don't worry. We'll make sure that you have, a breadcrumb here and there and make you happy. Or there is one over here that says, no, I want to question things. I want to learn about things. I want to understand things, and I want to make it better. And in making it better, that means, oh my God, that I got to learn, I got to expand, I got to put some effort into it. And in putting some effort into what it is that I want to create means there's going to be some hard work. And I'm going to move away from the pack of sheep. I'm going to move away from this line and go somewhere else. That's a big one. That's a big one. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to hear that, because it's easy to be just over here. It's easy. All right. And that's why I feel like it's just so much people have to look into. That's why I'm looking into, like, I've been doing a little bit of digging and, of history, and okay, why, what was the conversion? That's what I found out so far. And the reasoning why people are doing what they do. Anyways, craziness of the world. This is the Gateway Oracle cards. Woo. Oh, look at what popped out. Making a difference. Making a difference. My inner light shines far and wide. Make a difference. Allow your light to shine, right? It's so important for you to really embrace the person you are, like embracing that light. And that it's not always easy to admit certain things, or admit a truth that you have, because you have a fear of being judged. You have a fear of being pushed aside or persecuted. And it's identifying that fear, allowing that fear to have a voice. It's so important for that fear to have a voice, but not to control what you are wanting to do. Don't let that fear stop you from going forward. Don't let that fear stop you from being that beautiful light that you want to be, right? Because when you're allowing yourself to be that beautiful light, being that creative individual that you are, then you're able to say, you know what? I can set the boundaries, and setting the boundaries doesn't mean I'm being evil, doesn't mean I'm being an asshole. It means that I'm respecting who I am. I'm respecting what it is that I want to do. And if people want to be around me or they want to hear what I have to say, awesome. If they don't want to hear what I have to say, awesome. That's their choice as well, right? I love having, hearing people's opinions and, you know, um, just trying to understand the reasons behind why they believe what they believe. There's uh, a young man, and he is he's from Yemen. He's Muslim, and he's going around and he is talking to people and asking people to ask him questions. And it's a conversation that needs to be had, and it's just fabulous because he even has other Muslims come in and he confronts them on the way that they think and the way that they're taught, right? He asks them, what do what does genocide mean to you, right? And then he explains the truth of what genocide is. Genocide is to eliminate a whole population that to no longer exists, right? What does it mean to be a Zionist? It means identifying with a country, to have a country, right? So he brings this in, and he brings these conversations in, and where he gets people to understand why Israel's doing what Israel's doing, why the Jews are doing what they're doing, and what it is that the governments are doing. Like it's just, he's making a difference. He's getting out there and he's having these conversations, right? And he talks about he's from Yemen. He talks about how Saudi Arabia has invaded Yemen and has killed millions of people in Yemen. Children too. But people don't talk about that, right? They don't talk about the Arabs going in there and killing people. They only talk about the Jews. So history again, making a difference, allowing that inner light to shine. And in doing it, you got to look deeper. You got to look deeper than what is being put upon the surface. We can take what's happening in Canada. You got to look deeper, right? I yesterday, and what I think Andrea said, she was like, "Oh, I wonder if they ousted him." I said, "They're not going to oust him." And then I started Google and I looked up on TikTok and stuff, and it showed him coming out of the caucus smiling, and it's just like you got to look in deeper. Why? If somebody has something on you and you're terrified of that coming forward, P Diddy shit. People did what they did because they were afraid of being exposed. Instead of coming in with the truth and coming out with the truth, they're afraid their livelihood would be gone, the money's going to be gone, they're going to be down and out. We've seen it before. What happened in 2022, 2021? People were being forced to do something against their will. Why? Their livelihood would be gone. Their money would be gone. They'd be destitute. They'd have nothing. That's a limiting belief that we get. So in order to make a difference, we have to look deeper into the situations that are happening around us. And it's not an easy one, right? Because when we look deeper, we're finding a lot of us that are shining, allowing ourselves to be radiant. The more you shine, the more radiant you are. The more a threat you are to that of the darkness, to that of what's trying to create a division within our world today. When you find out why do why are they pushing climate change? Who's getting that? Who's getting the money from all that? Right? Is Greta being paid? Yeah, she's getting paid a lot of money. A lot of money. Right? But people aren't looking at that. And finally, we need to plant the seeds. Right? We need to plant the seeds. The seeds of grace are being planted in the fertile soil of my soul. Planting the seeds. So planting those seeds. Looking at where do you want to plant the seeds? What do you want to grow? This is a fabulous time as we're heading into the fall and into the winter time of just thinking, what do I want to create? What do I want to have grow in the springtime? What do I want to have grow into the summer? I Everybody knows I watch Lalonde, Chateau Diaries, and I love it when she's planting her gardens and stuff, because at first when they're planting these little seedlings and stuff like that, you just like, oh my God, it looks like nothing. But watching it and you see it over time, how they grow, how they blossom, how it changes, um, everything around them, how she's changed the courtyard and with planting the different trees and plants and stuff like in the front and through the different seasons, and how the thought out plan has been on how, oh, this is what I want to see in springtime. This is what I want to see, in the fall. This is what I want to see, even having some blossoms coming up in the wintertime, right? So looking at, what is it that I want to see as I'm planting my seeds? So it's really, in order to make that difference, in order to do what it is that you want to do, you really have to look deep within inside yourself. What is it that you want? And how do you want to make that a difference, not only in the lives of those around you, but in the lives beyond? Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody's going to agree with you. And it's going to be a little bit difficult sometimes because people always want to be liked and loved. But that's not going to happen when you are starting to make a difference and let your light shine. So there you go. Have a blessed one, everybody. And may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all you be and all you do. If you are wanting a reading, I only have only four moon readings for the rest of the year. 2 in November, 2 in December, and that's it. I haven't made a decision if I'm going to continue doing moon readings in the new year. We will see. Haven't made that decision yet. So, but I have 4 readings left. If you're interested in a reading, they're $50, so that's $200. So, sending you loads of love, and may the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all you be and all you do. Blessed be everyone. God bless, and the Goddess bless you. Bye-bye for now.